views expressed on this program are those of the hosts, guests, and callers, and are not necessarily those of this station, its management, or other advertisers. You're listening to Transformation Talk Radio.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
When you add Be You plus Live Your Purpose, what do you get? Joy. That's the motto of Unstuck Joy with Vicki-Todd. Vicki believes you were born with gifts that you're meant to use to make the world a brighter place. Have you ever wondered, is this all life has to offer? There must be more. If you answer yes, then Unstuck Joy is the show for you. Each show will feature a memoir artwork painted by Vicki that taps into universal themes of evolution, hope, inner strength, and self-growth. Vicki will also ask listeners to play along, draw, doodle, collage, write, and or paint your way to soul clarity with Art Vision Journaling. Unstuck Joy will compel you to tune into your soul's whispers to realize your unique dreams. Get ready to get unstuck.
Hey, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to Unstuck Joy. And joining me, I'm Dr. Pat. Joining me here today is Vicki-Todd. We've got something exciting to do today. So this is about saying yes to your true self, your values, and to live unstuck joy. What I love about this is, this is the time for us to be fully expressed. And for those of you listening, if you go over to your smartphones and you just look up Transformation Talk Radio, you're going to be able to watch this live streaming show because Vicki's going to be doing something cool. Vicki, it's great to have you here. Tell everybody what we're doing today.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to the show. Okay, so we are talking about defining the values of our true self. And what that means is the values that it takes for you to live a balanced and joyful life. And those are overarching values that go into every part of your life. And so this idea for the show came from two places. One, a little bit over 2 years ago in January 2015, I was working with a life coach to get me over the hump to quit my very stable professor job. And she said, list the values that are important for you to live balanced and happy. So I had 6. So for example, freedom to work on projects that are important to me, creativity, making a meaningful contribution, autonomy, spirituality, and adventure. And so then she said, compare those to your daily activities and do they match up? And at the time, my values were not matching up to my daily activities. And that's why I was experiencing so much frustration and pain. And it was just mind-blowing, Pat, because it was so simple, but yet so effective. So that's part of the idea that we're doing today. And that will go into our art visioning prompt that we'll talk about later. But also this book, Top 5 Regrets of the Dying by Bronnie Ware, who's from Australia. This talks about people who have gotten to the end of their life and regretted not following what their true self was telling them. So we're going to talk about the top 3 that I think everybody can resonate with. And I really think that if you live your true self values, you won't end up in a position that you'll be regretting that you didn't do something.
Yeah. Do you think it's unusual that people that are asked that question to list the top values and then match it up, do you think it's unusual that most of us that might do that would see the disconnect?
I did not see the disconnect myself.
Yeah.
And that's why it was so mind-blowing, because it was so simple. And, I was coming home with migraines and crying. And when I looked at my 6 values, I thought, when I began teaching in 1998, part-time Texas Tech, and then 2003 with this full-time professor position, I probably was hitting on some of these values because it was new, it was different, and I was having a really great time. But I had outgrown that job. And so I didn't make the connection that I was so miserable because I wasn't living these values. And for me, it took that huge leap of faith to totally quit my job and just leap out into the unknown. But for some people, it may just take little tweaks of your schedule to follow your passion projects. So it's a really cool thing.
Wow. So today, tell us what we're going to do for many of the folks that are watching on Facebook and Facebook Live now, watching this. I got to tell you, this is one of these things for me when I think about what it meant for us to look at our values here at the network and then realize we weren't aligned with it. One of the things we weren't aligned with was doing something like this, the live Facebook show. And it was like a big aha moment. And today you're going to do something extraordinary in that you're creating real live art during this hour show, right?
Yes.
And I remember you telling me that you never thought you would do that.
Oh, no. And I always go back to that phone call that we had. And Linda, the producer, she said, oh, maybe you can paint live on air. And literally, I was like, hell no. I was so scared of it. And so this is me, stepping into my purpose of using my art to inspire others. And hopefully that will inspire the listeners out there to step into their true self values and whatever that means to them, to live full out, full volume, true self. So that's the hope.
Yeah. And, for many people listening today, and watching today, it's not like we're sitting here and have scripted everything. We're really not. Your memoir artwork of the day is Hear Me Roar.
Yes.
And, in the words of Katy Perry, of course. But boy, don't you think we hold back a bit? Don't you think that there are parts of our lives, at least for me, when I think about parts of my life, there are definitely parts where I've compromised. And I'm so mindful of that now that I do my best and are surrounded by people that will not let me compromise. Isn't that one of the downsides of really attempting to do what you're talking to us about doing?
Yes, and that goes right into, in the book, 5 Regrets of the Dying. That is the number one regret that people had, was living a life based on others' expectations of what they should do or who they should be, instead of being who their true self was telling them to be. And I have so experienced that, because that is so hard. And I can see why that's the number one regret, because, when you've got people in your life, whether it's your family, your spouse, your friends, your coworkers, your boss, or whoever, saying, no, stay here, stay in the status quo, it's really hard to say, no, I think I need to take this other path. And, people in your life, Clarissa Pinkola Estes, who wrote Women Who Run with the Wolves, she calls it tribe shaming. And so your tribe of your family or your coworkers or your close friends, they'll say, who are you to think that you can step outside of the tribe and step outside of the status quo? And so maybe they'll withhold love or encouragement, or really start discouraging you. People may withhold money, whatever, to try to keep you back down in the status quo. And so I can totally understand why people kind of cave into that, because that's hard. And I have to share something.
Sure.
Facebook reminded me today, last year on this day, I was on my first day of driving cross country from Connecticut to Washington State. And I had a romantic partner on and off for 9 years. I left him in the parking lot with tears just streaming down his face, because I knew I had to make the move to come do this. And I know that sounds harsh, but my soul, as I was driving closer and closer toward Washington, I just felt joy bubbling up. And so I knew that was the right decision. And that's sometimes the hard decision that people have to make, is that you're going to make other people unhappy. But the fear of not changing and not going into who your true self is telling you to be, that pain starts to outgrow the fear of the unknown, of jumping into a new job or making a move or whatever you need to do. And it also outgrows the pain of disappointing others. And so I know that that's hard, but which do you want to do? Not live your true self and be miserable and let your soul suffer, or make the changes that you need to make and live a joyful life, and that will ripple out to other people in your life.
You know what I've learned about that, Vicki, and if I could just comment on it, because it's what we're talking about today. What I've discovered in my life's journey is the moments that I did not make those changes on my own, I got some help from the universe and making them.
Oh, absolutely.
Yep. Everything from moving off of a job after 24 and a half years to, as with you, a relationship ending that I didn't have the courage to end myself. And so these are the things that if we are given the signs and if we are prompted in the energies that are out there for us, our job is to be awake and aware enough and then to get the support we need to take the steps and make the move. That's what we're doing today. You know, we're talking now about why people don't live their true lives or their true values. And we do live in other people's expectations. So you're sharing with us today, as you're creating art, you're sharing what those top 5 regrets are. For those of you out there, I want to encourage you to send in your comments on Transformation Talk Radio on social media, on Facebook. But you can also call into the show at 1-800-930-2819. And, you know, get your questions on here. And what I've discovered is that the questions that you all have are literally the questions that are out there in consciousness for so many people. We're going to take a look at, you know, why didn't I let myself be happier? Why didn't I let myself be happier? What was it that we hold on to? And that feeling of happiness that we believe we have to trade for a compromise of our life's values and what we've said yes to in the world. Let's take a short break, everyone. We will be right back.
Hey listeners, would you love to have the most imaginable relationships ever? David Karcher has just finished his breakthrough book, The 7 Spiritual Strategies for Fulfilling Relationships, and he is giving you a copy. Learn to move any important relationship in your life forward like never before. Visit davidkarcher.com/blessing or transformationtalkradio.com to receive this incredible gift. Once again, that's davidkarcher.com/blessing.
What if your body and mind were the compasses to the secrets, mysteries, and magic of life? Glenna Rice, co-host of The Questionable Parent, is inviting you to access all that is possible. Glenna is a 10-year certified veteran access consciousness facilitator who offers an amazing variety of life-changing classes and workshops. Work with Glenna from anywhere, with teleclasses and workshops all over the globe. To learn more and see Glenna's current schedule of events, classes, and workshops, visit glennarice.com.
Did you know that all of the shows on the Transformation Radio Network are available as podcasts to stream or download?
Really?
Check us out. Go to transformationradio.fm. We have business shows, spiritual shows, energy healing shows, and pretty much everything in between. Something for everyone, guaranteed to inspire, educate, and transform. We are transforming the world, one listener at a time.
Chris Stanis is a spiritual leader and healer and teaches a course on how you can transform your life through a meditation and healing system that will manifest your spirit's dreams. She manifested the Women of Wisdom Conference, the Women of Wisdom book, and this radio show. And she can show you how to change your life too. Are you ready? Visit the website and contact her at voicesofwomentoday.com. That's voicesofwomentoday.com.
Treat the Body and Expand the Soul on June 1st with Lynn Brown. In this all-inclusive retreat, you'll treat your body with breakout sessions in the various elements of nature, enjoy fireside chats while harnessing the healing energy of fire, allow more light with more ease, and activate that connection between the body and spirit. Call 206-931-7356 or visit lynnmbrown.com.
Yeah, everyone, welcome back. Vicki Todd joining me here today. And, we're talking about unstuck joy, but most importantly, we're talking about our lives. Some of the decisions we make or maybe we don't make. And while you're watching or listening to the show, if you want to go to Transformation Talk Radio on Facebook Transformation Talk Radio, what you're going to find is this live streaming video and watching Vicki actually create this art. But the art, Vicki, is a representation of the bigger conversation, isn't it?
It really is. And so I'm considering this an energy painting, and all the artwork that I do are memoir portraits. And so it's something that's happening in my life. And so today I'm kind of expecting for this blooming of, living your true self values and living your life at full volume to come out in this. And so we will see how that works.
Well, you wanted to go back and talk a little bit about this idea of regrets and a little bit about,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So one thing that I have discovered is that when you make the decision to follow your true self, and maybe it's going against what others think that you should be doing or who you should be, yes, you are triggering them and they're going to be upset with you because of that. But really, it's because you're tapping into something inside of them. You're tapping into their own fears and pushing them to the boundaries of their own fears because they don't want to change. And so it's like you're holding up a mirror to them. And that's really why people start getting upset with you and maybe, discouraging remarks or withholding love or encouragement or whatever. And so it's really more about them and not necessarily about you, even though you may be on the receiving end of that. And so, the way that I do it, I really ask myself the question, are you going to regret if you don't make this change? And if the answer is yes, then I have to say, you know what, no matter what, I've got to do it. And I found this quote on Facebook, and it's the definition of hell. And it was like, when you leave this earth and who you actually became meets who you could have become, ouch, that's pretty serious. And so you don't want to regret not doing something just because others were holding you back. Because if you're miserable, you're going to make them miserable. But if you're joyful, you give them the permission to shine and use their gifts as well. And it's up to them how they respond to that.
Well, one of the things I want to talk with you about is this idea of, knowing and feeling that there is something that you can do, that we can do, right? There's something that we want to do, yet at the same time, we don't do it. So it's not like we have a momentary lapse of happiness or joy. Right. What it's more like is we making a decision about something that will be with us for entire life. And, can you talk more about that? Because, this is really that conversation about what it looks like to be able to experience joy. And tell folks a bit more about what you're painting right there.
Okay. Well, this is a female. Hopefully you can see that. And so I think what I'm going to do is just cover her with flowers. And so almost like she is this, forest nymph, coming out. And all of these flowers are her true self values. And they are blooming because she is living those values each and every day. Her activities are matching up to that. And that brings her unstuck joy. So getting into that, the second regret is, why didn't I let myself be happier?
Right.
And I have so fallen into this. I can remember two instances. One when I was married, and at the time I was happy, but I thought, oh no, this can't last forever. The other shoe's going to drop at any moment. And so that robbed me of the joy, in that moment. And the other instance I can really remember is at the end of my professor position, when I wasn't living my values and I was really miserable, coming home with, migraines and crying. And I had called my mom and said, this is really hurting me. And in the phone, she yelled, life is not meant to be happy. Oh. And I just thought, not sure if I really agree with that. Well, now I know I definitely don't agree with that. But that was a reflection of her life and what she was feeling. And so if you have those limiting beliefs of, I'm not meant to be happy, or, I'm too happy and it can't last, and the other shoe is about to drop, those are definitely limiting beliefs. And that's in the fear zone. And so by thinking those things, you're going to attract more fear and more things to not be happy about. So what you can do, and we've talked about this before, is to live in that space of joy, gratitude, and love, and visualize the life that you do want and get into the feeling of feeling that joy and making that list of your true self values and figuring out what do I need to do to truly live those. And by being in that joy, that's what's going to bring you more joy, because the universe is going to give you what you're thinking about and what you're feeling. And so again, so simple, but that's really tricky, to get out of reality, to get out of those old limiting beliefs and to make that change. But you'll start seeing, these manifestations of what you think about is what you get. And that's so important.
Well, this is part of really looking at, are we willing to be honest enough to really list the values that we really want? I mean, that's the first place that we have to bust a little crust right there.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one thing to write your values and write your list and then see how your life isn't living up to it. But it's another thing to truly put down what you really value. I mean, did you do it the first time? Did you have to get a little help with that?
Yes, and working with a life coach helped with that.
Yeah,
but
totally.
It's really a change of perception. And so perception is, to me, is one of those sneaky things that is, again, so simple, but once you do it, it's like, that makes a big difference. And so there's a poet named Mark Nepo, beautiful poet, and he has talked about that you can be broken open or you can willfully shed. And I've done both, because my first life flip of going from, non-working wife, just lost a baby that I knew I didn't have any business even getting into that. And, getting a divorce, going back to school, and then moving from Texas to Connecticut, best thing that could have ever happened, best thing that I could have ever done. But I was angry. I was in that fear, anger spot of how dare you do this to me. And so I was my own worst roadblock. And so I was totally being broken open, even though I needed to make that change. Well, life flip number 2, after I started meditating and realized that, my purpose in life is to use my art to inspire others and needing to make the, career change. Even though it was so scary to quit a stable job, I was running toward the joy of really stepping into who my true self was asking me to be, and to be that person that I was born to be. And so it really is that matter of perception that, because of my divorce, that's when I started painting. That's when I started doing my memoir portraits. And at the time, I thought that it was self-therapy. Well, now I know that was preparation toward living this new life. With my mom yelling into the phone, life isn't meant to be happy. And, she's still angry with me to this day. She has made me independent and strong to be able to do this. And I've learned to set boundaries. So if you can get into the perception is life is happening for you to teach you lessons and give you the skills and knowledge to move on to the next, part of your journey and strength, instead of being that victim that life is happening to me. These things are still hard, but the perception makes a huge difference. And so living in that gratitude and joy and knowing that the universe is on my side, that can help you live.
Yeah. And, let's talk about this, for a few seconds here, if we could, and talk about the idea of what is it that we do that holds us back from the exercise of desire, as I like to call it. The words want and wanting get a bad rap, but the word desire has a whole different meaning. And, at some point in time, we have to let out what we know inside of us that is just screaming to come to the forefront. And I'll tell you what I discovered, and I think you're doing it as we speak. It is really difficult to bring your desires to the forefront when you're thinking 1 month, 1 year, 1 decade down the road of what it's going to mean.
Right.
And so we future trip about how it is or isn't going to happen. And then we end up squashing the desire, thinking that it goes away, and it doesn't.
Right.
Yeah,
right.
It doesn't go away.
It's Deepak Chopra had said, your life purpose is like a mountain, and living that purpose is at the peak, and the trail goes around the mountain. And sometimes it's clear, sometimes it's covered up with weeds, and it's up to us to keep moving. And so living in the moment is kind of that baby bear porridge, just right, of visioning the life that you want and getting to the feeling, even if it's not your reality right now, to say, yes, that brings me joy, but also living in the moment as if it's happening right now. And that's the sweet spot that will bring you to living this life. And like, I knew that the year anniversary of me leaving Connecticut was coming up, and thank you, Facebook, for reminding me, but that brought in these memories of, wow, I did do that. And so when you can look back and acknowledge, I'm not good at remembering and acknowledging and saying, pat on the back, good job. But if you can acknowledge how far you've come and the steps that you've taken, you can say, oh, I do have the strength. I did do it. I did manifest this. Let's keep going in that direction. So that gives you the strength to keep moving forward.
Mm-hmm. I want to ask you this question about your art for a minute, because I think each of us has things that we like to do. It might not be art,
right,
but some of us have other things that we like to do. So I have a friend that loves to garden. I mean, the minute that she puts on that, like I talk about, a little garden outfit, right? And gets out there and plays in the dirt, that's her happy space, her happy moment. We live in a country where we get to experience happy moments. And I'm not saying we all do, because I certainly know what it's like to be homeless. I know what it's like to not know where, your next meal is coming from. I know what it's like to have loss. But the one thing that I never lost in all of that is this desire to have the kind of life that inside I knew was possible.
Right.
How do we bring that out? Let's talk about that when we come back, because the question is, what are we waiting for? What is it we're waiting for?
Yeah, don't wait too late.
Are we waiting for that moment when we can have that peace of mind? What is it we are waiting for? And what happens in the waiting? Let's take a short break. Vicki Todd, when we come back, lots of information. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
Tune in to The Truth is Funny with Colette Steffen each Wednesday at 8 a.m. Pacific, 11 a.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com. This hit show will have you thinking outside the box and riding the wave of infinite potential. Join Colette on the Higher Self Network, inspiring listeners to shine their brilliance and ensure success while roaring with laughter as they recognize the humor of the giant cosmic joke. Visit thetruthисfunny.com.
Tune in to the hit show Mouthing Off with Chef Rossi. Chef Rossi mouths off about different subjects in pursuit of breaking down walls and opening up your minds. She and Dr. Pat banter back and forth, taking from the headlines of the day on subjects that reach beyond what goes on in the world into your hearts. And go to theragingskillet.com to find out more and let Chef Rossi know what's on your mind.
Miss any shows during the week? Don't worry, we've got you covered. With the free Transformation Talk radio app, you'll have access to all of the past week's shows in the palm of your hand. Tune in to Transformation Talk Radio anywhere you go with our free app for any of your devices. Check out our app in the App Store and Google Play Store today.
Calling all moms, it's time to awaken your vibrant, intuitive, loving self in every area of your life. Join host Debbie Pokornik as she shares thoughts, stories, and tools to help you stand in your power. Listen to Vibrant, Powerful Moms helping everyday women create extraordinary lives. Mondays at 2:30 Pacific, 5:30 Eastern. For more information about Debbie, visit empoweringenergy.com.
That's empowering with letters NRG.com.
Gifted intuitive healer and spiritual teacher Sarah Luce brings her unique style to the hit show Small Steps, Big Breakthrough Radio on TransformationTalkRadio.com. Tune in each month as Sarah turns reality on end and shows us how to experience expansive results with simple yet powerful steps. Expect an enlightening bend on what you currently believe is possible. For show details and upcoming topics, visit sarahluce.com. That's SARALOOS.com.
Brand consultant Jen Morgan is here with Radically Distinct Radio to help you take control of your future and maximize your brand's power to produce results. Whether you're an individual trying to reinvent yourself and launch a new venture, or you're an executive trying to reposition your company to modernize your sales and marketing programs, Jen Morgan and the RAD method empower you to play to your strengths and show up in the world as your most powerful brand. To learn more, go to jenmorgan.com. That's Jen with 2 N's Morgan.com, or call 206-972-5366.
Hey everybody, welcome. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. Hey, listen, if you want to watch this live, go to Facebook and go to Transformation Talk Radio. Also, you can go Facebook, the Dr. Pat Show. But today, it's all about what Vicki's drawing, but more importantly, it's about the message. You know, what is it like to live a life without regrets? And how does regret suck the life out of joy? Vicki, would you tell folks how they can find out more about you, how they can get a copy of your book, all of the above? And then let's tell them what you're painting here today.
Okay. Well, first of all, my website is vickiworldart.com, VICKI, worldart.com. And so I have a book link. And so Unstuck, my visual memoir is under there. So what I'm painting today, this is like a little forest nymph, I'm thinking, and all of the flowers that she has going on here that is just surrounding her, those are her true self values just blooming out, and she is living full volume, true self, living her unstuck joy by following those values, matching her daily activities up with those values.
Wow. And you know, one of the things that I think people don't know about you and what you do is that you have created this incredible process for people to literally experience what you're doing.
Yes.
And let's take a moment and talk about that before we jump into talking about the snake.
Okay. Okay. So I have a prompt. It's an Art Vision journaling prompt. And so if you go to my website, vickiworldart.com, on the menu, there's an Art Vision link in the menu. Down below that is Art Vision prompts. And so today's prompt is called Say Yes to Your Life Zen Doodle. Okay. So I'm asking for listeners to make a list of their true self values. And if you're not sure what those are, because like I said, 2 years ago, I had never done this before. And I thought, true self values, what do you mean? But it's the overarching values that fit in every aspect of your life. And I encourage you to find at least 3. And so part of the art visioning is to ask the universe to help you to reveal and download discoveries. And so I have a list of questions to ask the universe at the bottom of that Say Yes to Your Life Zen Doodle page. You know, who do I need to be? What do I need to discover about this? What do I need to shed? What do I need to allow? And that may help you really define those values. Once you've got your list of at least 3 true self values that match your highest self, match those or compare those to your daily activities and see if they gel together. If they don't, are you like me where you need to take this huge leap of faith into the unknown and maybe change your jobs, end a toxic relationship, relocate, or maybe it's just little tweaks into your schedule for more you time. So, it could be big, it could be small. What I have, there's a PDF for the true self outline. And so this black outline of this woman, I have the blank copy of that for people to download. And so what I would like you to do is on that page, or you can cut it out and put it in your art journal, doodle colors, patterns that mean something to you that match the true self values that you've listed. And so like for me, I matched my 6 true self values with the colors and the positions of the chakra. And so for example, adventure. Now, even though adventure is risky and there's an unknown to it, I matched it with my root chakra of peace and security, because I know the universe has my back. And so that's what all these ruby red swirlies are. The yellow star, that's my autonomy of needing to work on projects that are important to me, my own vision, my own mission. So that's my solar plexus chakra of that personal power. Meaningful contribution with these big flowers that are really making a substantial difference, and freedom to work on projects that I love. Those are both coming out of my throat chakra because I need to use my true self voice. Spirituality, of course, coming out of my third eye, intuition, and shooting off rainbow style into my crown chakra, because that's when I know that I'm really aligned. So that's how I've chosen to express this.
Wow.
So
hold it up a little bit higher and a little bit further back from the camera.
Okay,
so everybody can see it. Yeah. Because, what you just described is, I love this, because what you're talking about is, don't get all hung up on whether you're creative or whether you can draw, we get all hung up on things like that. And so what we do is we do nothing, right? The art of doing nothing. It is an art. I'm telling you, the art of doing nothing is an art. And, part of it is that we just get more and more embedded and committed to living less.
Right.
That's what we do. We just are like, I'm telling you, I'm going to argue from a limitation right now. Let me do it. And off we go and we do it. This is, in this show and the work that you do, is to provide multiple levels where people can begin to come out of the shell, the prison of their own ideas, and live their birthright.
Right. And if you feel like 2 years ago, this doodle would not look the same. It would be covered with a lot of black and white and gray. And so if you feel that some of your values, you're not doing that, you may just express that through black and white on one side, but then on the other side, full color of how that would feel to step into that joy. And we mentioned the snake. I love this analogy. A snake, when it needs to shed its old skin, it doesn't slip out of it like a glove, really easily. It's painful and itchy for that snake to wriggle out. And I remember growing up on the farm seeing these gossamer snake skins stuck to a fence post because that snake had wriggled up against it to help it pull out. So it's the same with us. Oh, if the snake doesn't shed the skin, it will literally die.
Yeah.
It's the same with us. If we know our true self values and we know what our true self is meant to be, and we don't live that, our soul will shrivel and die just like that snake. And so we have to shed those limiting beliefs. And like you said, the art of doing nothing, you're going to get more of nothing if that's what you're believing in, because that's a very limiting belief in fear. So how can you change that perception and saying, what's a baby step, a mini step I could take towards something? And doodling is easy. That's why I call it a Zen doodle, because it's this meditative state of just going. And this is all crayon. It doesn't have to be anything fancy.
It's really interesting we're talking about this. When I did exactly what you said, when I packed up everything, put it in a truck, drove across the country to a place where I didn't know, Seattle was not on my radar. I'm an East Coast girl. I'm telling you, packing up and coming to Seattle was a very spiritual draw for me. I now know that. And when I first got here, it was so foreign to me. But I had a couple things going for me. I had a really cool apartment on Capitol Hill. I had a really cool dog. And I had a 1971 chopped Harley Davidson.
Wow.
And so even in my moments of loneliness, and I had quite a few, there was this idea of having coffee. And that was new to me.
Yeah.
Having coffee, like literally taking your dog, walking down the street, and there is a barista making this coffee. Listen, I'm used to running through to get to Manhattan, where the guy is sitting there in the blue and white cups with the coffee, and you get two choices, black or regular, and better have the exact change, because you leave your money, you grab your coffee, and regular is usually a lot of milk and 3 big scoops of sugar.
Wow.
So coming out here, it was, wait a minute, we're actually going to sit and talk?
Yeah.
We're going to actually drink this thing. So, when we look at this, and when we're looking at this notion Why will we opt out to not do something waiting for a better day? Why do we do that? Because we do. We save up for this. We wait for retirement. We decide we're not going to take that 3-day weekend. Maybe we even hold back on volunteering to do good work. I have two friends go down to Seattle and work with the homeless. I work with women in addiction and recovery. So why is it, Vicki, in your experience, why will we decide to put off to that day that may never come?
And that was a quintessential example in the book, 5 Regrets of the Dying, because my third one is, don't put it off till retirement. Don't work so much that you're putting off everything, because this man said, I'll retire at 60, no 65, no 70. And he and his wife were planning this big vacation. And by the time he got to be 70, a year from retirement, his wife had died. And so that is one thing that I am struggling with myself and I'm working on. That's my shadow belief of my dad being a workaholic, and I'm a workaholic. And so even though now I'm working on passion projects, it's really hard for me to say, put everything down, go to the museum on a Tuesday afternoon and live joy. And I think that we think, like we said earlier, it's not on our radar that, tomorrow may be it. We never think that. But don't put it off. If there's something that, you have this idea that just really sets you on fire, really lights you up, that's coming from your true self. And so even though you don't know how to do it, start now, incorporating that into your life, because you don't want to get to that regret of, oh no, now I can't, and it's way too late. Yeah. So I had a reading by Kathy Murphy. She did the sound bowl, the crystal and brass bowls. And so she'll do that and then she'll have a reading. And she said she envisioned me on a bicycle, and the basket were all these flowers, and everything was in color while I'm on the bicycle, because it's freedom, it's joy, I'm having a great time. But around that is black and white. And so the interpretation was, I have to get out there, put down my work, and have these experiences to bring the inspiration and joy, bring that into my life, and then that goes into my work. Otherwise, I'm in the black and white. It's really stale. And she said, you have to do that once a week, and that's going to help with your manifestation of joyful things. And it's hard for me to say, yeah, I deserve a Tuesday to go do this. And it's so stupid. Yeah. It really is stupid.
Yeah, I totally get it. I mean, even taking a moment and say, I want to sit down with friends, I want to sit down with family, and maybe I want to do some things that are a little bit different that I haven't done in a really long time. And then there are some of us that are super introverts. Yes, shocking to everybody that may be watching and listening. That's me. Totally an introvert. Yeah. So what does that even mean? Well, what that means is after a show like this, or after a day, out with listeners or communicating on social media, I'm going to take myself and I'm going to probably maybe turn on Netflix and watch, the Netflix series Sense8. But why will I do that? Because I need to re-energize. The other thing is, like you're talking about, is there may be something artistic we can do.
Right.
I also love to cook. I may decide I'm going to whip something up. But the point to all of this, isn't it, that we find what our heart is calling forward? We're going to take a short break. When we come back, more with Vicki, more with what she has created, and more with helping all of you leave the past behind. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
Thrive is what we experience when our mind, body, and soul operate as one. When we thrive, we excel on all levels. Thrive is the mindset that matters. It is essential to our being. Have you ever found yourself looking for the instruction manual on how to thrive? You'll find everything you need to help you feel strong, powerful, and peaceful in your own body. So don't waste any more time. Visit thrivebyjen.com today.
Get ready to experience Truth Talk Radio with host Deb Acker. Tune in to Truth Talk Radio each Wednesday at 3 p.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com to illuminate the truth in your daily life as you experience life, love, and abundance from a whole new perspective. This hit show will leave you feeling lighter and bring you into a place of infinite possibilities every day in every way. Visit TruthTalkRadioshow.com for upcoming transformative topics and guests.
Do you ever feel as if you're working twice as hard but only getting half as far? Are you trying to connect with your path in life and finding it elusive? Mainstream Metaphysics Radio is a weekly call-in show where we harness our connection with the universe and use what is in our power to affect change for optimal success and happiness. This hit show bridges the divide between what is and what we do not know. Eve, named one of the country's top psychics, also known as the MBA Psychic, invites you on this journey for this live call-in show with readings, featured guests, leaders, and visionaries in both business and spiritual callings. So join Eve Thursdays at 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern on TransformationTalkRadio.com as she takes metaphysics mainstream. For more information about Eve, visit EliteTarot.com. That's EliteTarot.com.
The Earth is an ever-changing being. Goddess Light Shamanic Healer Bree Gibbs guides us through the ascending worlds, bringing forth knowledge and truth. As a light creator, she is here to provide new information needed at this time in our evolution. Join Bree as she shares messages from guides, spirits, ascended masters, goddesses, and others. Tune in the second and fourth Monday, 11 a.m. Pacific, and Thursdays, 1 p.m. Pacific for Silver Gaia Radio.
How would you like increased health and vitality? How would you like to avoid the onset of disease as well as slow the aging process? This is all possible through a simple, safe, and natural process. Every day we are either moving toward wellness or away from wellness.
Hi, I'm Mary Jane Mack. I'd like to be your partner in achieving optimal health. Contact me now at maryjanemack.com or call 425-392-0659. Visit maryjanemack.com.
Miss any shows during the week? Don't worry, we've got you covered. With the free Transformation Talk Radio app, you'll have access to all of the past week's shows in the palm of your hand. Tune in to Transformation Talk Radio anywhere you go with our free app for any of your devices. Check out our app in the App Store and Google Play Store today.
I've been lost in Let's Remember. You think I'm feeling older and missing my younger days. Oh, then you should have known me much better. 'Cause my past is something that never got in my way.
Hey, everybody, welcome back. Welcome back to the show. Vicki Todd joining me here today. And as usual, if you're watching on Facebook Live and you type in your values, as usual, what Vicki's going to do today is going to gift one of you with the portrait she's doing. But I really do need to give a shout out. Many of you are watching some of the videos that are playing live on Facebook. And I want to mention something because there is enormous talent out there, Vicki. And one of the people I believe is watching now who is responsible for providing us with some of her art, some of her photographs that are playing in our videos, and that's Caitlin Firing.
Awesome.
And, she is a phenomenal artist. And honestly, I only have some of her old portraits, and I'm sure she's got more going on than that. So, Caitlin, if you're posting on here, just post in how we can find out more about you. But this is really the time for us to be fully expressed. Now, how many of us know about doodling? And why is doodling so important? In school, they think we're not paying attention. I don't think we are paying attention, though, to tell you the truth. No, we're not.
That's funny. Well, they say that when you doodle in a meeting or when you're on the phone, it helps you focus more. And so you really hear the conversation more than if you're not doodling. So, and I find the art vision prompts, and in this case, it's the Say Yes to Your Lives in Doodle. I just got so immersed in this when I was doing it. And it's just, my brain switched off and I was just coming from my intuition and my heart. And just, it wasn't a plan to line my true self values up with the colors and positions of the chakra. That just kind of came from inside. But after I did that, it made so much sense. And I have to say that, 2 years ago when I was working with the life coach and she asked me to make the list of my values, and I made 6 and they're on the other page. I've had the list. I kind of forgot about the list. And, here we are doing this, and I brought out the list. But I have to say that doing the Zen Doodle with those true self values and really thinking, are you matching up your daily activities? How can I express that in color and patterns and, something that means sense to me? It really solidified those values into my heart and my mind and my soul even more. And so you can have the list with words, you can have it memorized in your head, but really doing the doodle, the art part of it, of the art vision prompt, that really solidifies it. It's this magical thing with the universe. And like I said, go to the questions, the art visioning questions on the Say Yes to Your Life Zen Doodle page. It's toward the bottom. Ask the universe for help in this. Who do I need to be? What do I need to discover? What do I need to shed? What do I need to allow? How can I use my gifts? And so that's going to make you go even deeper than just your logical ego brain.
Yeah. And, let's withhold the judgment we may have about, am I good? Am I not good? Is it art? Am I creative? Because we need to just mention that again. I know we talk about it all the time. I went back, and when Linda was here, we were cleaning out the closets, and I found my sketch pad. Remember I told you about the sketch pad that I had that I couldn't find? Well, I found this sketch pad, and I think it's interesting because I think this is what you're talking about. If I were to post those doodles, drawings from 1994 and where I was in my life, and the next time we do a show and I bring them and post them, they're in black and white. And what you know about me in this world today, all you need to do is go to Transformation Talk Radio, transformationradio.fm, go to the Dr. Pat Show. And if you looked at the imagery there, which is actually a representation of me, right?
Right.
Right? And then you looked at what I'm going to post in the self-portrait I did of myself on a motorcycle. I have no drawing background at all. I know that when we bring this forth, it is our inside. Because if you were to see these, you would have thought maybe I studied school somewhere. I didn't.
Yeah.
Doesn't our soul help us to express?
Yes. And, like we were saying before, with the mountain path, it will always come back and tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, remember me? This is your true self talking. These are the gifts. You're not using them. And so it will never go away. What you don't want to do is, be like the people in the book, Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. You don't want to get to the end of your life and saying, oh, no, I should have done that and I didn't do it. The point of all of this that we're talking about today, figure it out now, do it now. And so whatever is in your heart that lights you up, gives you joy, for me, it's art. For, like you said, your friend with gardening, some people cooking, some people it may be ping pong.
Mine is ping pong.
I used to love ping pong with my brother.
Okay, match here.
Yeah, okay. But anything like that, even though that seems kind of quote unquote frivolous or silly, that's what your gift is. And that can bring you joy. And maybe that's not the thing for you to do, but that can open a door toward possibilities and opportunities for other things, because then you're in a joy space and you're going to pull in more joy. But if you're with the door closed and just saying, oh, well, I don't have time for that, then you're living in stale black and white life.
Wow.
And that's not what your soul wants.
Well, Vicki, this hour has gone by super quickly. Thank you for today. Please let folks know how they can find out more about you.
Yes, my website is vickiworldart.com, so VICKI worldart.com, and I have a contact me link with my main email. I have a books link. I have the art visioning link, and underneath that are the art vision prompts for today's show with this prompt. It is Say Yes to Your Life Zen Doodle. And then we've got all the radio episodes that we've done with those vision prompts as well. And I'm just going to take this off really quickly.
Yeah, let's see it.
Whoops.
I think we have a winner too, but we're gonna get back to you on that in a minute, because I can't multitask and post on Facebook and do the show, right? Wow,
right.
That's beautiful, Vicki.
Oh, thank you.
Wow, I hope Alex is getting that. That is super beautiful.
So, like I said, I feel that she looks peaceful, right? And all of these flowers are her true self-values that she is living. It's becoming ingrained into her. And so all of her daily activities are matching, gelling with those true self-values, and she's living full volume, unstuck joy. And that's my hope for everybody out there, because we can do it. Maybe a small tweak, it may be a huge leap of faith, but we can do it, and the universe is there to support you.
You've been listening to Unstuck Joy, the art of living on purpose with Vicki Todd. This hit show is where your higher purpose is revealed and cultivated. Now you too can share your unique light and special gifts with the world. Vicki's dedication to raising your life's purpose to something extraordinary is unending. So don't miss out on your opportunity. Catch Unstuck Joy monthly with Vicki Todd and Dr. Pat Basilli. For more information about Vicki and her work, go to VickiWorldArt.com. That's VICKI worldart.com.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.